creating the life that you want to live is so fun. It's fun. You can do anything you freaking want to do. And not believing in yourself is like, why? What's wrong with you? You know, like change something, do something, like brainstorm, and you can do whatever you want in this life. So I am here at the Cruise America location in Homestead, Florida, because I'm gonna rent one and I'm gonna take a trip at the end of the year. Not too far. I'm just gonna probably go like somewhere up North Florida. Spend a couple days in an RV park that looks like the Majestic 19. I can tell from the way the windows look. But I want to see the other. They have another compact one that is a little different. We'll see. So there's two options of the RVs from Cruise America that I am considering. There's the 19G and there's the 22E. On the interior, they're about the same length, but the layout is a little bit different. And then this location is actually where I made my reservation months in advance, because a lot of campgrounds filled up very quickly, and you can start booking your time and your campsite up to 12 months in advance for most of them, because they will fill up fast. So I wanted to make sure that I secured my RV, and they could always change the RV. They could bump it up or move it, you know, they can make adjustments. But I made the reservation for the 19G, but I wanted to see the 22E as well, and they didn't have any available right there at the moment. There was one available, but it couldn't be seen because it was already cleaned and ready to be picked up by the people who were about to rent it. But I did get to tour the inside of the 19G, and let me tell you, it is tiny. It is tiny. It is a little shoebox. There's something about when you look at these things online and you watch YouTube videos and you see like, you know, 3D tutorials, it's never really quite the same. I mean, you can appreciate the aesthetic, the layout, but the feeling of being inside of it, you need to go see them in person. I don't dislike it. I think I can handle a small space like that, no problem. Not only for a trip that's a week long, but also for a trip that could be several weeks or even months long. Or even, dare I say, when I'm older, my children are grown up, and don't need to work full time anymore, I'm retired, or I could retire, I could rent out my house. You know, I could rent it out fully furnished and just, you know, put all my personal things in storage, take my personal things that I'm going to want to take with me, and live permanently on the road. Or permanently for, let's say, the length of a 1-year lease. If I were to do something like that, I would buy one. But I'm not going to buy one to take, you know, 2 trips a year. For that, you just rent it. This is the same concept as a wedding dress. Don't buy a wedding dress. You're going to pay thousands of dollars for a dress that you're going to take pictures in and wear for one day. And I made that mistake. It took me forever to sell it. I sold it for nothing. It wasn't that expensive of a dress. It was probably $1,000. But still, it's $1,000. I could have rented it, had it sized to fit me, and then given it back. But we get all these emotional attachments to wanting to own things, and it's not really necessary. So I would not buy one anytime soon, for obvious reasons, because I would want to be able to already travel in it for a consecutive amount of months, and or, you know, do that and come home for a few months and then travel again for several months and come home for a few months and travel again for a few months. Like, that would be my lifestyle. You know, spend some time in my house and spend some time, you know, traveling the country in the RV. And even for that, you can rent. Some people rent for months at a time, and they do a travel the whole country 5-6 months kind of thing, and they pay for the rent. But that's going to be a lot of money. Okay, we're talking the smallest RV for 5 nights. It's $100 a night, so it's $500. Now tack on the kitchen kit, which basically means you're going to either have empty drawers or you're going to have drawers with cups, bowls, plates, silverware, you know, cooking utensils. I'm planning to bring my own food. Didn't opt for the linen kit. That would basically be sheets, pillows, blankets, towels to take a shower. That I can very easily, now that I see what the layout is like, there's a bunk bed on the top that is huge, like queen, almost king size-ish. And then there's like a dinette that turns into a little bed. Think of it like a little futon kind of size, you know, maybe a little bit more narrow than a futon, but definitely the length is about as much. You could probably sleep there or lounge there like if it was a couch. I could bring a fitted sheet or two and like put the fitted sheets. I could bring a comforter if I want to add a little thickness. I do have like a king size mattress topper that I don't use because I replaced it with a foam topper, which is much better, and that's what I currently have on my bed. But the other one, I didn't have it in my heart to throw it out. I wanted something more comfortable, and it was still in good condition, so I have it saved, and it's in a bag, and it's perfectly fine. So I could bring that with me if the bunk, you know, little cushions that it comes with, which are about 2, maybe 3 inches thick, and they could be kind of hard, may not be the most comfortable bed. I could bring that little mattress topper and then put a fitted sheet on top of that, and then bring like a comforter or a blanket and sleep with that, and bring a pillow or two. And then for the dinette area, I'm not a big sit at the table and eat kind of person. I mean, I could, but I think I'd much rather have it converted into the little bed for the sake of using it like a couch. I'm not a fan of sleeping hanging out and lounging, eating and watching TV in the same space that I sleep in. Because there's a psychological thing there that helps, you know, it facilitates sleep when you keep those two things separate. I don't even have a TV in my room. I don't lay in my bed on my phone. Like if I do, it's for a very short amount of time. I'm probably looking for a nice video with some white or brown noise so that I can go to sleep. I go to my bedroom when my eyes are heavy and I'm tired and I'm ready to go to sleep. If I'm just chilling, hanging out, watching TV, eating, I do that on my couch. And I have a recliner, so it's very comfortable, but that's what I like to do. I like to lounge back. You know, I don't want to just sit up on my couch. I don't find that to be very comfortable. So that's probably why I don't want to keep the dinette. I can leave it as like a little bed and use it like a little lounge/couch area. I could use a little cutting board to like put my little plates on and just have my meals, and there's no TV in there, but I can bring my laptop. And the park that I'm staying at is full hookup. It has electric, it has water, it has sewer dump, and it also has Wi-Fi. So I could connect to my, you know, streaming services and watch things, or just watch YouTube, which is one of my favorite things to watch. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. So let's get back to, I'm about to drive to another location. I'm in South Florida and I'm realizing there's a lot of little Cruise America locations, but they're not like the big store. Like when you see online, you walk into this Cruise America giant corporate store, you open the big doors and you're in this air conditioned place and there's brand new models inside the showroom. That's not what we have here. The nearest one to me that's like that here is in Orlando. So if I wanted to ever purchase one, it would have to be from Orlando, or there's also one in California, there's one in Arizona, there's a variety of those stores. But here in South Florida, what we have are companies that, like a motor, I don't know if it's a used car salesman, or maybe perhaps like a mechanic, that they incorporate this RV rental option as part of their business under Cruise America, so they don't have to always go only to these headquarters. They do the necessary repairs and maintenance on the fleets when they get returned. That's the good thing about if I were to purchase one of these versus purchasing new or purchasing used from, you know, a private seller. I would never ever purchase a brand new RV. Are ridiculously overpriced. They depreciate in value incredibly. They have not been road tested, so they could come with little issues and problems. Something's always going to go wrong. This is all based on the research that I've done. For those reasons alone. Overpriced, and things are going to go wrong because no one's ever really lived in it, driven it, like put it on the road. Buy owner may be cheaper, but they might try to price gouge you because they want to get the best bang for their buck because it's someone who's selling it privately. Some people may just want to get rid of it and give you a great price, and some people may be in dire financial situations and want to make as much money off of it as possible. But you also do not know what it has been through. You don't know what this person, if they were a first-time RV owner, how much did they mess up and potentially cause damage to things that perhaps didn't play out for them, and like, oh, this is broken. No, they didn't break it, but they used it so hard and it's probably not broken yet, but it'll eventually break because of how they used it. So I would, if it was personal, like a buy owner kind of thing, I would definitely get an RV inspector. But what's good about these rental fleets is that they have deductibles. and you have to return it if you rent it out in the same condition in which you picked it up. It has to be in pristine condition. It has to be clean. If anything is broken, they inspect the whole thing before they give it to you. If there's a ding, a scratch, any damage already done to it, they, will not hold it against you because they're going to mark it and know that this was already there. But if you mess something up, you'll lose your deposit and you'll be responsible for fixing and paying for certain things. They do offer like a little insurance packet, which is like $20 a night, so that they'll cover up to $2,500 worth of damage or something to that effect. I'm not sure if the rest lands on you, but if you don't get that little insurance, I think everything lands on you. Plus you lose your deductible. They make sure that these things are still functional. However, they do look worn, used, lived in. So they may be functional if there's like a little scratch on the back of like the captain passenger side seat, the leather is torn. That's not a dire, functional thing. They may not get it fixed. However, they may not get something like that fixed for the sake of continuously renting them out. But I do think that what they also do is that when they reach 4 years old, they no longer want to rent them out. They only rent them out when they're brand new. So everything that's for sale is not going to be any older than a 2020 model currently. So whenever you go to buy one, it's never going to be older than 4 years, which is great. It's already depreciated in value. So you're going to get it at a great price. I've seen some of them for like $30,000, $40,000. But I heard that they refurbish them. So the Cruise America rentals have all these like decals and stickers and like there's all this exterior advertisement of Cruise America. They're not going to sell it to you like that. They remove all that, or they paint it, or they do something so that it's generally plain white. I've seen some of the ones that people have purchased that have like those typical like weird little like swirly lines on the side that RVs generally have. But I think they refurbish them. So they don't only make sure that everything is in working order and fixed and, functional for the next renters, but when they're going to sell it, yes, they do that. But I think they also probably do a little bit of cosmetic work so that if like a seat is torn, maybe they'll, pay to have it reupholstered, or so they don't sell you something that looks like it's in crappy condition, even though it's functional. It's going to have a little bit of wear and tear because, of course, just like anything used that you buy, it's going to have wear and tear. But that is not for today. That is something to consider for the future. And when that time comes, I can shop around. I can most definitely go and look at a specific model and inspect it carefully. I think I would still hire a private personal inspector and have them come with me, or have them go look at it independently. I just tell Cruise America, hey, look, no offense, but I would like to get a private inspector to look at this rig before I decide to buy it. If it looks like it's in good condition, if they claim that it's in good condition and I do like it. Otherwise, if there's something wrong with it, or if I see something that cosmetically looks like I can't deal with, I'll keep waiting and looking for something else. But with that said, I'm not in the market to buy one anytime soon. Affordability, I still work full time, makes absolutely no sense to have it parked. First of all, I don't have the space in my house right now to have it parked there, but to pay for like a storage unit to have it stored up for most of the year, just collecting dust and getting old, no. I will just rent. If I enjoy this little RV solo trip, I will probably continue to do it at least once a year and go visit different places. It's funny, a lot of people in Miami are not big on Pacific Northwest or like out, Southwest, camping, like in the deserts and the mountains. That's not their thing. People in Miami, we're close to the water. They want to go out on boats. They might go to the Keys. But she told me a lot of people rent them out like if their house is being painted or worked on, and they're gonna live in the little RV and it's parked out in front of their house because they need a place to stay, or gonna go to Disney World for the weekend. And she's like, well, me personally, I'd rather stay in a hotel, but if I'm gonna go to Disney World, I'd rather stay in a hotel too. The purpose of an RV is to go camping, not to be like going to like Disney World. For that, you just stay in the hotel. But she even said that she would rather be camping in a tent, that she would not rather camp in an RV. She says she's never camped in an RV before. Personally, I have camped in a tent before. It's not bad. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's as much fun as an RV, because when I was a kid, my dad did have an RV. He had a big, Class A, and I don't recall going on very many trips. I do recall one particular trip, kind of boondocking somewhere in Florida in the middle of nowhere. I think he went hunting or something. I just remember stepping outside and being in the middle of nowhere and playing around outside in the fields and the grass. And when I wanted to go back inside, it felt like I had a little house. it felt like I had a little home. There was a little couch, there was a little kitchen, there was a little fridge, there were snacks, there was a bathroom where I can go to the bathroom, I can take a shower, I had a little bed that I can sleep in. It felt very cozy. And then I've also done the tent thing. And when you show up to your campsite, it could be rainy. This happened to us once, me and my ex-husband, and we were setting up the tent and it was muddy, and like, it's a lot of work to set up the tent, set up where you're gonna cook, set up where you're gonna eat. There's nowhere to really put stuff, all the cups and plates and everything. I'd rather have my own little house on wheels where all I gotta do is park and plug in, connect if it has hookups. Plug in the water, plug in the electric, plug in the sewer. I have a theory, by the way, about, staying in an RV park and having the sewage line connected the whole time. I don't think that's a good idea, and I'll tell you why, but I'll tell you in a minute. The tent thing was fun, but it's a ton of work, and I don't want to do that by myself. So if I'm not in a relationship and I don't have a male partner to help with these things, and even still, I had a male partner to help with these things, but I had to help him do it, and it was a pain in the butt. I didn't enjoy it. I'd rather drive the RV, park it, and then move on down to the back, turn on whatever needs to be turned on, and bam, we're home. I got a kitchen, I got everything I need. We're getting close to the next location. Let's go inside and ask them if I can just take a quick look. Do they have any E22? I think that's what it is. The compact is the 19G, and I think the compact plus is the E22. So I'm gonna try to wrap up this video. I didn't get a full video of the inside. I don't know why I get so shy and embarrassed to pop up my phone to record when I'm in front of other people. Even if it's for the sake of seeing something, like if I'm looking at a house that I'm gonna buy, I like to show up with the realtor and pull out my phone. I don't know, I felt kind of embarrassed being in there with her and having conversations with her and asking her all the questions and be recording the whole thing. So I stopped recording the minute that I got into the RV. I did get a feel for what it felt like and what it looked like to be in there. I could do it, it's decent. And if I purchased it, I could make it homelier for sure. I could paint certain things, redecorate certain things. I can clean with my cleaning equipment so that it doesn't smell so chemically, like industry cleaner smell. I could use, my own personal things and give it my own personal touch and totally make it homey. It was kind of muggy and humid because it's a rainy day here in South Florida, and the RV coach was off. There was no AC running at the time. I didn't get to see the E22. I'm hoping I can see it now. I would likely take one trip at the very least a year in an RV, but it would have to be somewhere close, unless I'm willing to fly to the Southwest, the desert, or the Midwest, or the mountains, and then get the RV from there and use it and camp out there and then turn it in and fly back home, or fly, grab it, travel, and then drop it off in a different location, bring it down here. These are the things that you can do, but you have to look at pricing and see if it makes sense. Is it more expensive to do something like that? I wouldn't purchase until I know for a fact that I don't have to work a full-time job, because it makes no sense. When you work a full-time job, you only get 2 weeks of paid vacation. Some people, if they've been there for a very long time, they get more, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but still, I would need to be able to be out there for at minimum a month at a time to own one. And I would have to do that multiple times a year, at least 3 or 4 times a year. Or twice a year, go for a good 3 months, and then spend just 6 months of my life home in my house. And if I do decide to ultimately just retire there, just pass. I'm confused. I don't even know where this place is. I might just not do this and just go home, because it looks like I just passed it. And I don't understand how I just passed it. And it's saying it's in that corner. I don't see where the heck it was. I mean, it may not even be there. Yeah, let's hope I can see this E22, and I will get back to you guys later. The location that I was just at is the furthest south, and when I did go to the Cruise America website, it only showed the option of being way up north Florida, far from here. Not that far, but North Miami, or that one. It didn't show the option of any others, but yet when I go to the map, the Google Maps or whatever, the phone map, it shows that there's 2 other locations on the way down to this one, which is way south. But on the website, it doesn't. So they could have been old locations that have since closed down. I tried finding this second location and it looks like I passed it, but I didn't see a fleet. When I went to the original first location I saw, as I was passing it, I could see like all the Cruise America, RVs. I was like, okay, there it is. But it's like the actual place is like this little tiny like mechanic shop. And so I didn't see that this time around. So I'm gonna go a little more close to home, head up a little bit more to the next location that it's showing on the map, which is like 1.5 miles down the road, 5 minutes. Maybe this one was closed and it moved over there, or maybe it's a separate one, or maybe this one doesn't exist either. We're gonna drive by. If I don't see a fleet, then I'm heading home. I'm not going to the one up north today. We got some awful weather today. I'm just gonna go home. Today's a very rare day off that I get from work because I had to go to the doctor and get some lab results, which by the way, everything is great, tip-top shape. My A1C, which indicates pre-diabetes and whatnot, my liver enzyme function, my red blood cells, my white blood cells, my hormones, my thyroid, everything came back normal. A little bit of low vitamin levels, so he just recommended like I take a women's once a day multivitamin. I'm gonna see if I find this location. If I don't find it, I'm just gonna head home and relax, enjoy my day off. Sundays I don't do anything outside of my house. I stay home. I might do my laundry, I might do some housework, but I'm staying home. I'll let you know if I find this place and if I get to see a E22. We can turn. Supposedly it's here. Oh, I think I see RVs, but they're not Cruise America RVs. They are like regular ass RVs. I think they might be constructing one here. Wah wah. Maybe on some other day I will head up north. I don't know where I'm going right now, so let's see. I want to go home. All right, so I'm just gonna go home. Couldn't see the E22. I don't know which layout I'm gonna like better. The reason why I'm making a big deal out of this is it doesn't really matter like for the camping sake. Like I'll be fine in whatever, but I want to see what it feels like to be in it, because that's what it's gonna feel like to live in it, or to be in it for months at a time when the day comes that I'm ready to buy one. And if I buy one, it will ultimately, eventually become one that I want to live in if I enjoy the experience. The model that I use on my rental experiences is important for me to see if this is a way that I would like to live. The 19G is cute. The kitchen is in the back next to the bathroom. I don't like that the window is like frosted. It's like kind of like a bathroom window, and it's for privacy because the bathroom is so close to the kitchen, but you don't really need that, because when you open up the bathroom door being open covers almost entirely the hallway space, the little space that is between the bathroom and that ends up in the kitchen. So just having that door open, no one's gonna see you if you're dressing and changing on the other side of the door. That doesn't need to be frosted. And again, why not just put curtains like in all the other windows? I don't like that. I would have to pay to change that window out because I would wanna be in my kitchen and look outside. And the E22 model, even though I have no problem with the rest of it, it's great. But the E22 model, the kitchen is like, as soon as you come into the RV, it's on your left. And there is a long window in front of the sink and the stove. So you have a window to look outside while you're working in the kitchen. The bathroom is, as soon as you come in, right in front of you. And then next to it, there's like the little closet. And then next to that is the refrigerator. And then the very back is the dinette that's kind of like a booth, kind of like a U-shaped dinette with a table that turns into a bed. It's about the same width, same length, same size as the back of the 19G, but in the back of the 19G, you can't visualize a bed. There's a kitchen and a bathroom. Their extra little bed is the dinette that's in the front. Long ways. I think all of these RVs are about 7 feet wide, 7.5 feet wide, about 12 feet tall, about 20 feet long. So I just wanted to see what the back bed would be like, because there's a window on either end, rear dinette / bed area. There's no rear window, which to me is stupid. It should have it. It should have a rear window and the windows on the side. It should have windows all around with shades, like blackout shades. And it can be nice and quiet and cozy and dark for sleep. But when you are hanging out there, or you wake up in the morning and you want to open up your drapes and see the beautiful nature that's outside, you should be able to see it from all angles. That would be ideal, especially considering that this whole wall, the wall opposite of the door in the E22, has no window. It's the bathroom, the closet, and the fridge. The only window that you have is small kitchen window, which is a smaller window. It's about the same size as the rear window, but the rear window of the 19G is frosted, but this one is not. But it's a small window, so then you only have the other two small windows in the back. Whereas in the 19G, you have a frosted window in the back that you can't look out of, and you have a relatively bigger window in the dinette, which would be like the lounge couch area, which would be nice. Lounge there, relax, and you can look outside. And they all have a teeny tiny little window like to the right of when you come in through the door, right behind the passenger seat. I sat in the front seat. It's tiny. It's like a little truck. It's not even like a big truck. Like it's like a little truck. Maybe if you get like the bigger models, it would feel but I'm used to my gear changing being like down here in the center console, and it's a truck, so it's like over here, right where I normally have my windshield wipers. It's here. So I've never really driven a truck before, but it doesn't seem like a difficult thing. Like, I sat in it. The rear view mirror is pointless. All you can see is into the coach, because that big glass window that looks out of the kitchen is frosted. Makes no freaking sense. You could otherwise see sort of outside, and there is no backup camera system. But then again, if I wait to purchase, which I have to wait, let's say I purchase one in 7 years, right? It's 2024 right now. 7, 28, 29, 31, 2031. My God. The oldest model that they will have, the most recent model that they'll be able to sell will be a 2027. We're in 2024. So we're talking about an RV that hasn't been made yet and will be made in 3 years. So they're probably going to have Apple Play, they're going to have backup cameras, they're going to be way more advanced. Also, the wood in all of these are like dark wood, like dark grayish brown wood. The wood in the older models, like the 2014s, 2011s, 2010s, it's like that oaky, your mom, your grandma's kitchen cabinet, kind of like light-ish sort of wood. Not whitewash wood, but like a light wood. And so it goes with the theme, it goes with the styles, it goes with the times. There was a time in the early 2000s or the 2010s where dark wood kitchens were in style. And there was a time where it was the oaky ones, right? And then there was the 70s. So the next kitchen style that came out is the white kitchens. So I believe that the future models are going to start being manufactured with white wooding and paneling and like wallpapers. It's going to be made lighter. Given that it's such a small space, to make it dark, I think it's smarter of them to make it light. But perhaps being a rental, they're worried about stains and things like that. Either way, if I purchase one that is dark, which is probably not going to happen, because again, the models that are going to come out by the time I buy one will probably already have lighter options. But even if it's dark, I've seen people that they do an overhaul and they do a makeover and a remodel of their RV, and they have painted, you know, the walls, the paneling, you know, the cabinets, the insides and outsides. That's something that I could do to lighten it up. The floors are like a laminate, nice, like dark wood floor. Very pretty. I've seen RVs from the 90s that look like they have linoleum fake looking tile. Like fake tile that looks like linoleum that looks like tile, but it's not. It's fake. I've seen them carpeted before that. Like in the 80s and the 70s models, they're carpeted. So again, these RVs go following the typical styles and fashions of housing. Now it's transitioning to lighter colors, and then eventually it'll probably be black. I don't know if they'll ever go for black because it's a small space to have it so dark. But anywho, maybe some other day, some other weekend when it's not so rainy. I didn't expect this weather. I'll go visit the north location and take a gander and see, or I'll call ahead of time, because that's the thing. I came all the way down here. I'm glad they at least had the 19G, because can you imagine if they didn't have the 19 or the E22? Like, I would have come over here for nothing. I could have seen the bigger models, but I know for certain I don't want the bigger models. I don't need that much space or room. They're more expensive to rent. They're dualies, which means they have dual tires in the back, but also that's not a problem. That's actually pretty great. But what I don't like is that where the tire ends to where the bumper ends is extremely long. So when you go to turn a corner, like, you have to know how to turn a certain corner like that, because you can hit things with that bumper end. Whereas in the 19G and even the 22E, the 22E is only like 2 inches, maybe a little bit farther out. The bumper's a little farther out. Maybe there's more like under cab, like basement storage, like under the bed in the back. But the inside is the same length. But the 19G, it's like a van. It's like an SUV. It's like you have your tire and you have this little piece of bumper in the back, and that's it, you know? So turning corners should be like normal. So there would be no point in me even touring and looking at those bigger rigs, because that's not what I'm interested in. So I think I'm gonna call the northern office and ask if they have a 19E that I can see, you know, the day of or the day before I know that I can make the time to go visit it. So that was my adventure on going to look at the RV that I am most likely going to end up in when I go on my little solo RV trip. I might get the 19G, but she also said that if it's not available, they might just automatically put me in the E22. Because, and maybe at no charge, because it's what's available. It's kind of like when you rent a car. You know, you're like, I want the compact, cheapest car. And then they're like, well, we're going to give you an SUV because it's all we got right now. And it's like, ooh, you get upgraded for free. So that would be nice if hopefully that happens, if I do like that model more. But we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see. I want to see the other model first. But I have plenty of time. I already picked a campsite. I'm only going to stay at that campsite 4 nights. And then on the last day, like the 5th day, the last night before I actually have to start heading home, I'm gonna stop at a national forest, because they don't have any hookup. They only have, I think, water hookup, but they don't have electrical. They don't have, I don't know if they don't have a private personal like dump hookup, but they do have like a dump station, and that sucks because when people are about to leave the campsite, there's like a line sometime of cars, of RVs waiting, taking their turn to dump. And if they only have like one dump site for the whole campsite, that's gonna suck. So that one, I was gonna originally camp in the whole time, because it's got beautiful scenery. But I changed my mind and I found one that's like an hour, a little bit more northwest, on the west coast, by a lake that also looks gorgeous. And there was a perfect little spot just for me, all the way to the outer end of their property, of the land, in front of the lake. So it's waterfront, and I'm not in between. I don't want to be between other rigs, because I don't want kids and dogs and generators and noise. I want to be in the corner, and I want to be lakefront, and I want to be as far away from people as possible. And I got it. I'm gonna be gone for 5 days, but I'm gonna spend, 3 days there, 4 nights, and then on the 4th day / 5th night, which is the final day, I'll check out of that place, drive over to the original place that doesn't have any hookup, because this place that I'm going to stay at for the first few nights does have hookup. So I'll have electricity for the majority of my time there. I'll have water automatically hooked up, so I don't have to run the pump. Less risk of breaking anything, like the water pump. I don't have to go off the propane. I don't have to run the risk of running out of auxiliary battery and having to charge it by turning the car on and driving it around, the car of the rig. So being connected is great. You're not wasting the battery of the rig. You're not wasting the propane of the rig. And you can use your outlets, because you need to be plugged in to shore in order to use the outlets. The propane works for the water heater, the stove top. I don't think I will need the air conditioner, because I'm traveling during a time where it is cold in Florida, and I'm going to northern Florida. So if it's cold, and for us cold is in the 60s, 50s, 40s, that is cold. I can sleep with the windows a little cracked open, or maybe not even, and my rig would probably be nice and cool and comfortable, and I don't have to run the AC. But I want to be able to plug in my phone. I want to be able to plug in my laptop. I want to be able to, take hot showers and go to the bathroom. I was going to mention something earlier and I just remembered. Why, when you are at a campsite, you can have your electric plugged in, you can have your water plugged in. Those are great things. You don't have to use the water pump. The pressure of the spigot will just automatically create pressure into the rig. But you should not have the sewage plugged in the whole time, and I'll tell you why. Typically, when you use your black and gray water tanks, your fresh water is what supplies the water to flush your toilets, to use your sinks and your shower. When the water goes down the drain in your sinks and your shower, it goes to a gray tank because it's not poopy water. It's just water that's been used to clean dirty hands to wash your body. So it's called gray water. But when you go to the bathroom and you flush, the water that goes down there goes to a black tank. That's sewage. It's poopy water. It's got poop and pee and God knows what else. That goes to a black tank. That is dirtier, stinkier, grosser. There's going to be probably little clumps and things. So when you go to flush these tanks and they're full, you connect your hose and you first open the black tank. So all the gunky, poopy water is going to go out into the sewer first. But now your hose on the inside is lined with this black water, the gunky, poopy water. So then you close the black tank when it's empty, and then you open the gray tank, and now you're flushing that hose. You're releasing the water that is kind of soapy. It's a little dirty because it's like you use it to wash your food, wash your hands, take a shower, but it's not going to have poop. So you're cleaning the actual sewage hose that you're going to then afterwards have to disconnect and put back into the rig. Why would you want to leave it plugged in the whole time? And then you're alternating what's coming through that tube the whole time that you're parked. So if you wash your hands, that water is going through the tank, straight through the tube into the sewage. And then you go poop, and that stuff's going to the black tank and straight to the sewage. It's like, what's the point? These are people who have it plugged in and have their tanks open the whole time. So the tanks never fill. As they're being emptied, the order in which they're being emptied will not necessarily guarantee that your result will be a clean tube. If your gray tank gets too full, you're going to notice flooding. In your shower, the water won't go down the drain. Or in your sink, the water won't go down the drain because it's too full. Leave both the black and gray tanks closed. And just have it connected so that it's easier for me. When I'm ready to go, it's already connected. Pull the black, pull the gray, and then disconnect it, put it away. Really makes no difference. I could just not do that, and then before I go, connect it, pull the black, pull the gray, disconnect it, and go. Like, the more things you have outside exposed to the elements, the more chances there are and the more opportunity and time there is for it to get weathered. So I would rather just keep my tubing inside the outdoor compartments of the rig and just let the black and gray tanks get full, and when I'm ready to leave, connect, drain, and go. Now, if you're boondocking and you have a full tank of fresh water, you have to turn on the water pump every time you're going to use water. So if you're going to wash dishes, you're going to prepare food, you're going to wash your hands, you're going to flush the toilet, you're going to take a shower, you got to turn on the water pump. That uses battery, so I think it's best to have it off if you're not using. So it's like, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. If you're boondocking, obviously you have no water connection. If you are at a park that has water connection, it makes sense to use it, because when you have the water connected automatically, you don't have to turn on the pump. The pump creates pressure so that the water comes out automatically when you turn it on. It doesn't just trickle in. And if you have it in a tank, you need a pump to pump that water through those faucets. But if you have it coming directly from a hose, if you turn the spigot just a quarter of the way, you don't want it all the way because it's too much pressure and you could damage valves and tanks and tubing and things inside the rig. But just enough pressure. I don't know if they come with gauges. I should have asked that question. That's one question I forgot to ask. Some people purchase a little spigot connection to the hose that comes with a little pressure gauge, and you can when we turn on the spigot, it'll show you how much pressure is coming out, and it'll control it and regulate it and keep it there. But they say that if you just turn it a quarter of the way, it should be fine. So I don't think they come with little pressure gauges. I think they're just relying on you not cranking it. But there's no control of that pressure outside of the rig. The control is on the faucets and sink and shower head, which is why I would think that if there's too much water pressure, you can blow or break one of those things. So it would be better to have the pressure be gauged outside of the rig so that the water that's going into the rig is controlled, the pressure. But anyway, if you're plugged into the water, you don't need to use the water pump. And if you're plugged into the electrical, obviously that's like the best thing. That's glamping, you know, like you can turn on your air conditioner, you can turn on your lights, you can use your microwave, you can use your refrigerator will go off the electric. The stove, I think, is like the only thing that goes off propane because it's a gas stove. But if you have propane only, the propane can also power the refrigerator, but it won't power the microwave, obviously. So the refrigerator is the one and only thing that can be powered, I think, by two things. And the hot water. The electricity and the propane. So if you're plugged into electricity, your hot water, your water heater, will work off the electricity. Your refrigerator will work off the electricity. The one thing that only is used by propane is the gas stove. If I do want to use the stove for anything, I'm going to be using the propane, and I'm going to probably have to fill up the propane myself. I have to if it's even remotely low. But they say you go to certain places and the technician will do that for you and help you out. So before I turn it in, I have to make sure the freshwater tank is full, the black and gray tanks are empty, the gasoline is full, and the propane is full. Before you pump gas, before you fill propane, you have to make sure everything is off. The coach is off, the pump is off, the heater is off, everything is off. The engine is off, same as a regular car. But also the propane has to be off because you don't want an explosion at the gas station. Anyway, I don't know why this map is taking me to all sorts of weird places. I'm going home. Thank God I know how to get home. This map is like, if I didn't know where I was going, oh my lord, where on earth would it be taking me? Oh, I see. It has like a little bit of a delay. So it looks like I'm going in a different direction, but it just catches up a little late. Anyway, I'm almost home. So that was my day, attempting to visit a Cruise America to finally see one of these RVs in person with no salesman pressuring me. And I feel really good about it. I feel really good about renting it. I feel really good about camping in it. And I feel really good about the idea of buying one at some point in the future when I am ready and able, when I am more financially relieved of certain financial burdens like the mortgage, the car, all these things. When all these things are paid off and I'm older, I think I would probably, if I'm in good health, God willing. I see little old ladies in their 60s and 70s and some even in their 80s living out of cars or vans or RVs, and not because they're homeless or poor and they have to. Some of them because they wanted to. Some of them sold everything, their house, their car. They sold everything, and they have their social security check and they're in, 401k or pension or whatever. They live in a rig or a van, and I would love to live in one of these little things when I'm old. I don't want to be sitting in my house, a little old lady, no husband. My children rarely come to visit me anymore. They're living their own lives, maybe no grandchildren. I don't think my daughters are going to have kids, but we'll see what happens. I don't want to just be in that house all alone with a dog or a cat. Like, I love my house and I've always wanted that sense of security, but it was something that came from my youth, not having a sense of security in my childhood. Now that I'm older and I have a sense of security, anywhere I go and anywhere I travel, I feel secure and I feel at home. And the house is primarily for my children to have a home. I might keep my house because it would be a good, valuable asset to keep. I don't think I would sell it, but when it's paid off, I might rent it out. Do a 1-year lease at a time. And if I'm sick and tired of being on the road, I won't renew the lease for the tenant and I'll just move back home and maybe sell my rig or keep it. I don't know. But if I want to keep doing it and it becomes 1 year and it becomes 2 years and it becomes 3 years and it becomes 5 years, I'll just keep the house rented out and I will keep living in my rig until my health no longer allows me to. I can always end the lease with the tenants and age in my house until I croak and die. And that'll be that. Golly, how morbid. Planning out my whole life up until the moment I die. And you never know. You could die tomorrow. So nothing is guaranteed. This is why, regardless of the fact that I have a mortgage, I have a car payment, I have a HELOC payment for the roof that was being repaired, and I didn't have enough money for it, and I have some debts that I still need to pay off, regardless of the fact, I am going to take a trip this year, because you don't know. You may have 1 year of life left. You may have 1 month of life left. You may have 1 day of life left. You don't know. So you need to have a balance. I can't just save everything for the future. I can't just plan and prepare everything for when I'm old. But you got to do both, because what if you do live to be very old? Then what are you going to do? So I have a plan for all case scenarios. And I don't know what it is about planning. It excites me. It excites me. It's like you create this idea, this reality that doesn't exist yet in your mind, and you think of ways to make it happen, and you see that those ways are feasible, so you get excited because you know that they could happen and that they're gonna happen. That's manifestation. Planning is manifesting. I mean, of course, they say, you know, people make plans and God laughs, because things don't always work out the way you plan, but you can certainly try. And if they don't and they take a turn, you kind of just adjust the sails. You know, when the wind changes, adjust the sails. I'm already on my block, about to go home. I'm starving, gonna have some lunch. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.